Hello, geeks and geektresses, and welcome to Geekly Entertainment. Today I want to talk to you about a little trick I call the rabbit snare. Now, the whole concept behind the rabbit snare is that you are using player psychology, mainly the psychology you've seen your players use to solve issues or problems inside your particular game of D&D. You're using what you have come to expect out of your players. So this is not for low levels, and this trick does not work on higher levels because it really just, well, after level 15 they kind of just snap their fingers and they solve the problem. This is for the levels 5 to 15. What this is it's how you make your players start thinking outside the box and start expecting to need to think outside the box. If a person is typically using brute force and like destroying everything in their path to get through a dungeon, then the solution to this problem is subtlety. If they're constantly using magic to solve all their issues, then they need to do something physical. If it is they're using subtlety and they're roguing just a little too much, then brutality or magic. Back and forth. You pick the solution ahead of time, and you watch your players strangle themselves. And that's really what the whole concept behind this dungeon is that your players are the rabbit, and they are going to hit the snare, and they will strangle themselves on bad decisions, on what they typically do in these situations, by panicking. Only when they slow down and calm down does the solution make itself apparent. This is especially good for situations where you have a newer player that has been playing for just long enough to, they're starting to get used to their character, and the veteran players aren't letting them step forward and take the spotlight. Or you have an extremely aggressive player, and allow me to walk you through a simple scenario. Your players are in the dungeon. They've come into this room, or they've started coming in. It doesn't matter if they're coming in or leaving. But this is a one-room trap. They have, in this room, let's see if it's in here. Not this one. In this map, there are simply two doors at either end, and this seems like the kind of room you don't really want to be stuck in. Maybe you put something simple in here like a skeleton or a kobold. Or actually, that is the best situation. You see a live enemy in this room, they spot the player, and they leave, or the players, and they leave the room as quickly as they physically can. Maybe there's more than one, so that the chances of them getting out of the room are higher because, ranged capabilities. In doing so, you have tempted the players to act hastily, to proceed forward in as fast as they possibly can, because they don't want to risk alerting the rest of the dungeon. In doing so, this creates the opportunity for the trap to be triggered. Now remember, the dungeon itself is the trap here, basically. So when the monsters get to the other side, they're actually going to, or leave the room. They are going to wait by the trigger mechanism and wait for the players to be spread out and separated enough that at least half of the party is broken up and inside this room. When they flip the switch, the room is sealed and cannot be broken in by the party's go-to method of breaking out of a bad situation. And really, when they try to do their go-to method, that makes the situation worse. The rabbit strangles itself by trying to bolt away instead of calmly pulling the snare off of its throat. The rabbit, it is now broken in half, and to keep the pressure on, the monsters in the dungeon, whom are intelligent enough, are now coming in to attack the players. Here's that are either in this side or in this side. Doesn't matter, but that's how this works. If they try to brute force the door, or they are just or they do the thing that they always do, which by doing the thing they always do, when they've fallen into that type of mentality of, oh, we're in this type of scenario, do this. That is the loss of fun for the players. Remember, D&D is about coming up with new and innovative or using your abilities in new and innovative ways. By making the situation, by doing the same old thing, and having that same old thing make the situation worse, you are now dramatically upping the tension and telling your players it's time to evolve. You're level 5 now, or you're level 10 now, or what have you. It's time to step up the game a little bit. When the barbarian rushes the door and tries to lift it up, instead of letting the rogue step forward, now what you're going to have happen is the door gets jammed shut. There's a loud audible click, and the room starts to flood with water. They tried to magic the door open, and suddenly the ceiling starts to slide down on them, starts to slowly crush them. Now the situation has gotten to the point where the players have to rely on a method that they are not normally using. This is a good thing. This is good dungeoneering. Okay? Forcing the players to act and think in ways that are not normal for them is good gameplay. It's good strategy. The tried and true method shouldn't always work for your players. And also, I must also warn you here, this is prime TPK element territory, because you've locked out half of the players and engaged one half in combat, while the other half is engaged in a timed puzzle that they have to skill check their way out of. I feel like I've adequately explained the rabbit snare here enough, but let me know your thoughts, your comments. How have you used traps like this in your dungeons before? And tell me about those stories. I'm interested to hear them. Them in the comments down below. Anyways, this has been Geekly Entertainment, and I'll see you next time.